Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show. It is episode 86. I'll have you know it was the year I was born. I'll let the listeners and viewers guess how old that makes me at the moment, because I haven't told you what month I was born either, but old as and getting even older throughout this transfer window. But the thing that ages me more is having to spend 45 minutes to an hour with Alan Williamson and Chris O'Martin. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How's yourself?
He's all like, oh, not too bad. I am literally, this is like the 7th glass of red wine that I've had in the last 10 minutes. This is, and I know we're going to go on about it, but really, I've really had enough. After seeing, just really quickly, after seeing what Willock, again, bambying around on ice the other day in South Korea, I've had it.
Batman as well. Batman the game before.
But look, we'll talk about it, but at least we got Ramsdale in on loan. Now that is a massive plus. No sarcasm at all. Wow. What a week.
Yes. What a week. What a month.
Cheers.
We're already hitting August. On the day of recording, it is the 31st of July. Tomorrow is August already, lads. The season is literally around the corner. And it's fair to say that this has probably been, and I can't believe I'm saying it, an even worse transfer window than the last few, because at least in the last few, nothing was happening. Whereas now, horrible shit is happening. And we never saw this coming. But on this week's show, we're going to talk about, obviously, a lot of the carnage that's been happening in the window. Even this week, there's been a lot of recent developments. Even today, there's been a lot of recent developments. But in order not to spend 45 minutes of us just crying into Crisho's glass of red wine and stopping him from polishing the bottle and opening a new one, we are then going to flip it on its head and talk about what can actually save this transfer window. I don't want to say save the season. That's a bit dramatic. It's too soon. But what can turn this transfer window around in terms of players who are currently on the books at Newcastle United, eyes emoji, and players that we might still be able to bring in despite all of the failures we've had in recent weeks and months. Right. Okay, Alan, let's just start with fresh off the press news. People would have woken up today already in a bad mood, counting down like Chris Shaw until they could open that bottle of red wine. To the wonderful news, never mind the fact that we lost 1-0 in a friendly against the elite K-League 11 or whatever you want to call them. But we also kind of pretty much woke up to the news that Alexander Isak, who we all know has expressed a desire to leave Newcastle United, suspected high injury a few weeks ago, stopped him traveling. Eyes emoji, eyebrow raise. Now it seems he's in Spain on his own at his old club, Real Sociedad, going through his rehab from said injury, but ultimately training on his own in what appears to be just him continuing his stance, which is, I want to move and I don't want to play for this club anymore. I don't know. Discuss, Alan. Is that what it says in the
60 points. 60 points.
It's not exactly what it says in the tin. So basically, yes, he's at Sociedad. He's training 100%. Let's be very clear. The club would have known he's doing this. If they didn't know, he wouldn't be getting paid. That's the end of it. But the other side of the coin is our whole staff are over in Korea. What did they want him training on his own at Benton? At least if he goes to Spain, it's warm weather, warmer than Newcastle. It's with clubs that he knows, with people he knows, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But also he's only training with his own personal trainers and his own little entourage thing. So it's not the be all and end all. Listen, obviously I'm not happy with the situation by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm still not convinced any club in planet Earth can afford Alexander Isak. Any club that Alex wants to go to. The Saudi clubs could come in with 700 million and it wouldn't matter. He's not going to go there. It doesn't make any sense for him. It's so strange, and it's going to lead to a point where he himself is going to have to come out and say, I am finished with Newcastle, or he's going to have to turn around and be like, okay, I want to work my way back into the squad. Because even this evening, reports are coming out that Liverpool are only willing to pay 120 plus add-ons of 10 million. That's not enough, lads. He's the best striker. Bar Erling Haaland, he is the best striker in world football. You want that type of player, you have to stump up world record transfer fees. So 150 million is the baseline of what you're talking about to try to get him. And if you're not going to do it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we spoke about this before, particularly on the value, especially with Liverpool. They spent 116 million pounds on Florian Wirtz, who is a superstar player. Let's not beat around the bush. But equally, they're buying a lot of that is being spent on potential, rather than a ready-made player, who could be a difference maker. Isak is a ready-made difference maker for any team in the league. You could even throw Man City in that. If you went to Man City and just played up there with Haaland, they'd probably just smash everyone. Obviously, it's not going to happen. But that's what Alexander Isak is. The problem I have, Krisho, is like timing is really, really fucked up here. It feels like that this has almost been bubbling. There's all the talk about contract. I mean, it's the whole season. Isak contract. This has been bubbling amongst the fan base, journalists, everyone. And then there's the talk that the Paul Mitchell situation messed things up and promises were broken that were made. We don't know the true facts, but it does feel like this has been bubbling. But it took, I suppose, kind of, we just got to preseason. The lads are just about to jump on the plane and go. And arguably, two of the most important weeks of the transfer window is getting the squad together, getting yourselves gelling, getting yourselves fit. And just before that happens, he decides he doesn't want to go. There's a comment about a thigh injury. But it also is just around the time of the Hugo Ekitike situation coming up, all the Liverpool shenanigans. It's all just kind of flared up very quickly. And that has naturally driven everyone fucking insane. So now that you're 7 glasses of wine, your thoughts on the longevity of it versus the spontaneity of it?
The hard thing here is that like all the other clubs over the last couple of weeks have bought attacking players. All of our rivals, let's say, right? Chelsea, Arsenal, they've even bought Gyökeres. I think he was 60 odd or 70 odd million. They all kind of did their business, and nobody really needs a striker as such. Like Liverpool are one of the last teams in the Premier League that actually needs someone like Alexander Isak. So there really is nowhere for him to go. I've got an awful impression like that. And again, it's been mentioned today and seems very credible as well, that his agent just blew the whistle here and basically like sold Alex out and the club and everything else. Like you said last week, Paul, it's his biggest client. He wants to make his agent fees. He wants his asset to do well and earn more money. That means he gets more money. And if anyone's been unprofessional in this, don't get me wrong, the optics on Isak is not great, but his agent has overstepped the mark here entirely by blowing the whistle in terms of Liverpool's approach and so on. So I think it's a case when Eddie knew that had been kind of Eddie Howe knew that was going out into the public domain. I think initially at Celtic he did want to protect him, and they did have a chat, and he did send him home and say, "Look, don't worry about it. You'll come on the tour with us. It'll be all fine." So I kind of believe Eddie along. He seems like a very genuine man, so I kind of believe him. But what's happened between Celtic and going to Singapore, getting on that flight, is something entirely different. And I think the contract might have been mentioned again. And because we don't have the structure in place, and because you have to go through probably 7 hoops to get to PIF, that it wasn't forthcoming in that 4 or 5 day period. Whether we're giving them a new contract, whether we're selling them, whatever we're doing. And obviously the rest of the team and the squad and Eddie, they just have to get on with what they're doing. They have plans that have been probably a year in advance, plans to go to Singapore and everything else. And it's really, really unfortunate. The main thing I've written down on my notes here is the communication levels from the club. It's been absolutely astoundingly bad, tone deaf. I mean, all the things, read the room, the amount of read the room comments that have come out on Twitter and on social media, essentially, pushing runners, Sambas with Newcastle crest on it, pushing that ugly second jersey. God, let's not talk about that. It's shocking. And all these things, buy more. And everybody, it's just sign more players. It's awful. It's been handled so badly. And I thought, Al, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we had a communications department, like a proper communications manager. And we do, don't we?
We do, but I do think this whole Isak spanner has absolutely derailed any plans that we had. I want to just jump on something you said. Isak's agent. I think it proves how poor of an agent that Isak actually has. He signed a 6-year contract with a club and didn't ask for a release clause when he thought surely the agent would have gone, hang on, I am under the impression that this player is going to be one of the best players on planet Earth, X, Y, and Z. All agents should be aiming for the moon, if you know what I mean, and should be saying,
Yeah.
my player is going to be the best of the best. I want them out. He never done that. So his agent is showing his, I don't want to say amateurish, but like you can clearly see that Isak is his biggest client because he wasn't expecting something like this to happen so soon. And any agent worth the salt with a client as big as Isak surely would have said, right, lads, just on the off chance that the Premier League champions, the Champions League champions, Real Madrid, just on the off chance one of these lads come in, I just want to have a soft release clause of 140 million. And most clubs in our stage of where we are will have to go, all right, fair enough. If the Premier League champions, if the Champions League champions, if the champions of La Liga are coming in for you, we'll have to have a serious discussion and we'll let you go. His agent never put anything like that in. It's just, and then I think the agent has gone, right, well, we'll strong arm Newcastle into doing this. And I can guarantee you, Newcastle and the ownership and all the lads have gone, if this gobshite thinks we're going to be strong armed by someone, we'll show you who's going to be strong armed. Unless someone stumps up the cash for what we want, you're going nowhere, son. And that's the end of it. And I can see Isak turning around to his agent and going, well done there, mate. You've absolutely fucked it for me. No club is going to want to deal with me unless I drop you. Yeah. Because that's the only way I can really see it going. Unless a club come in with the money, it's not happening.
Question. Yes, I agree about the agent. We said this 2 or 3 weeks ago about the agent. I remember we were speaking about his other clients being like a couple of goalkeepers. Martinez was one of them at Villa, Buendia as well, and that's his career isn't going great. But like Isak, even looking at them, I have it open here on Transfer Market because you can click into it. Market value 120 million euros. That's actually more. And the next closest high value player is Miles Villar, who's the goalkeeper at Roma at 25. So like just going by market value alone, obviously Isak is this fella's bread and butter, let's say. Parking that, obviously, look, Isak isn't exactly kind of just going oblivious to what the agent is doing. It's not like Isak is like, oh shit, I didn't know you were going to do that, right? When it all explodes. Krisho, there's surely an element of either the agent or Isak himself or both knowing through channels that aren't hard to communicate via, we know Liverpool are interested. We know Liverpool are willing to make a bid, right? You'd want to be pretty silly to go, no, fuck it, I want to leave, without thinking that there's someone to buy. Even though there's this talk like Liverpool aren't willing to make a bid unless Newcastle say that they're willing to accept a bid, which is never going to happen. This is football. This is negotiation. We like it's negotiating 101. But there has to be an element of Liverpool, behind the curtain have been in touch to say, look, we want you and we're willing to pay what you want for salary and we're willing to make a bid. And that's what kind of gets me here as well.
Yeah, Paul, there's absolutely no doubt. Al, I think you'll agree. Maybe you will agree with me. I hope so. It's the summertime. You'd absolutely agree. Liverpool play. I wouldn't even be surprised if he had Van Dijk in his phone, for God's sake. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they've been talking to each other for the last 6, 7 or 8 months because he's been doing so well, scoring goals, making defenders look like idiots. And I'm sure there's certain players in the Liverpool squad that are like, this guy is the guy we need. This guy is bang on the guy we need. And I'm sure players do talk to each other. Of course they do, for God's sake, whether they play for different rival teams or whatever. Okay, we don't talk to Mackhams, of course, but I'm sure they talk to other people. And it's a case here, again, with the agent, the amateurish nature of the whole thing. What's actually coming out in the last couple of days, and I don't know whether you've seen this, maybe more so today, but it's just seeping out a little bit, that Liverpool are backtracking ever so slightly, in a sense that they do have a very long-standing relationship with Newcastle over transfers, shared histories, working class cities, so on and so on. Fan bases kind of, okay, they don't like each other, but at the same time, they come from the same kind of cities. They don't need this. Both of the clubs don't need this in terms of their reputation. And there is a case here to say, and I mean this genuinely, and it happens to people in corporate offices as well and normal jobs. It's the actual player, the employee who's going to suffer here, because Liverpool just turn around and go, actually, do you know what? We're not interested in Isak, actually. And then Isak's going to have to turn around to Newcastle and go, are we still cool? And they'll be like,
friends. We're still friends.
Not really. First of all, get rid of your agent, but it's a case of, it's definitely steeping out that Liverpool definitely made an approach. It was kind of slightly unofficial. and it was just talking. Richard Hughes has great respect for Eddie Howe, and Newcastle said, no, he's not for sale. Liverpool walked away. When Liverpool walked away like 2 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, his agent panicked and went, hang on, I'm going to text a couple of people. And it just went bang. And there's no control. It's a big snowball now. It was a little tiny snowball. Now it's an avalanche. There's no stopping it. And Isak's the one. I mean this genuinely, and I'm sad for it. He's the one that's going to come out of this very, very badly. Not us.
Yeah, it looks
not
like
Liverpool.
it.
Yeah.
I have one other question on Isak. Actually, Alan, he triggered me there when he talked about sack the agent. You remember in Football Manager, you could ask the player to sack the agent, and if he said yes, it was the greatest thing ever. Just before, I want to talk about what's the likely outcomes here, and it'll be part of our conversation of how we can rescue the window. But there's a game changer here. There's a bit of a kicker in the last 24 hours. Luis Diaz going to Bayern Munich for 80 million euros. Now, Liverpool are in a very good financial state anyway, as every single writer in The Athletic keeps telling us. Cheers, lads. As much as I like The Athletic, and they're great, we know, we get it. Now they've just gone and got 80 million for a 28-year-old with 2 years left on his contract. So if Luis Diaz, who's again below Alexander Isak, less time left on his contract, is 2 years older-ish, going on 20, like could be 2, could be 3. I haven't looked at the dates or anything like that. I don't even know my own birthday. Again, it just kind of sets the tone, but suddenly Liverpool have another 80 million in the bank on top of an already big pile of cash, Alan. Do you think that might change this, where previously it was like, oh, we're not going to make a bid? This could trigger a bid very quickly.
It absolutely could. But as I've said, they're only willing to go to 130. We are not going to entertain it. Or sorry, it's 120 plus 10. We're not going to entertain it.
Are you sure?
Yes. I am sure that we will not take any less than 150 million for Alexander Isak. It might not be 150 million up front, but it could be to the point where it's 115 million with guaranteed add-ons that bring it to 135 million with generic add-ons if we win the league, if we win the cup, that bring it to 150 million.
Champions League qualification.
We will not take any less than 150 million pounds sterling for Alexander Isak. Just doesn't make any sense to.
There's no way. There's no way PIF are going to do that. Like I said to you, these guys don't F around. Evan and Jeff in here, but they don't F around in business. They certainly, Newcastle is a business to them. Clearly it is. They're not going to F around here. This is their major asset. They're not just going to give it away. They don't do it with oil. They're sure as shit not going to do it with Isak.
Absolutely not.
And Luis Diaz is 2.5 years exactly older than Alexander Isak. So, I mean,
and 1 year less on his contract, a less effective player, less effective record, etc. Great player, but
oh yeah, don't get me wrong. When Darwin Núñez eventually goes to Saudi Arabia or wherever he heads off to, that's when I'll start going, okay, now Liverpool might come in with the big offer. But if there's no one to replace Isak with, I don't think we'll bite the bullet. We'll just go, okay, come back in a year's time with that exact offer and we'll say yes, but we have to be able to replace him. And it's not looking good on that front at the minute either.
To be honest with you, I'm more upset with the fact that Sesko is hanging on until Man United have enough money to buy
Hold
him.
that thought. I'm going to talk transfers in a moment. Hold that thought because I just want to finish on Isak quickly. Right. Hold that thought, Chriso. It is top of the list. Just to wrap up Isak, because I don't want to make this an Isak pod. He's done enough to our night's sleep.
Yes.
I'm surprised there isn't other clubs sniffing around here. Affordable, Barcelona, obviously, money fucked up. Madrid probably nowhere to put him. PSG are the one I have one eye on here. And I know they don't really do this anymore, but if I'm PSG, I'm like, Jesus, lads, there's an opportunity here. Those two big competitors of ours can't go. Man City don't want or need him. So we're competing with Liverpool. Like if I'm PSG, I'd be swooping in here. But anyway, there's no talks of that. I want to finish it off though, Christian. We kind of spoke about this before we hit record. This can go kind of a couple of ways. One being Isak does leave. A bid that Alan says won't happen does happen. We'll clip this and we'll put it on the internet and say Alan was finally wrong. Not but often. Alternatively, he doesn't leave. And then the question mark is what happens next? And from there, and we've seen this on social media. Thankfully, I've kind of had a bit of a hiatus from Twitter all week because I just was busy doing some work and better off without it. There's been talks like, oh, he's going to get such a booing. It's the first game in St. James's Park if he does stay. And this kind of chips into what we said about rescuing the window. I think that if he stays and nothing changes, he just stays as a Newcastle player, doesn't get the move he wants, nobody comes in, nobody can afford it, comes back with his head between his legs, tail between his legs, head between his legs? No, that's not he probably could do it, but tail between his legs.
You've done it.
And then he just continues on the same salary and the same situation, same contract. That for me is very bad optics for everyone involved, and he comes out of this terribly. However, if there's a world, which seems more and more unlikely, but if there's a world where all of this, including the agent, was a ploy to go back to talk about this contract situation, which we said has been going on for 12 months, I feel like the only way Isak can stay at Newcastle and come out of it with maybe not like love of the fans, but like fair enough respect of the fans, is to say, look, we've been talking about a contract for a year. I was given promises we'd be talking about the end of the summer. These promises are broken. Paul Mitchell, blah, blah, blah. I know what I'm worth because I know what everyone else gets paid, and I know what I've brought to this team, and I fired you into the Champions League effectively, Carabao Cup, etc. I wasn't being given anything. The club let me down. I had no choice, so I said I want to leave. If that then ultimately transpires to the club having to go, right, fair enough, here's a contract, whether that's 200, 250k, I don't know. For me, that's the only way the Isak comes out of it looking okay. It also gives Eddie Howe the opportunity to be like, on my fault and out of my control, I don't do contracts.
Makes
the club kind of look bad, but as we said at the top of the show, Chris Show, they've been doing that fine by themselves with the bad timing of tweets.
People aren't stupid, right? Like, and I want to make that a generalized statement, right? Okay, a lot of the time, the general public, yikes, but like Newcastle fans are not stupid. It's a working class city. They pay good money to go to the football. They buy their jerseys. They follow the team to bloody Korea and Singapore. They go anywhere they're going. That includes us as well, right? Isak doesn't come out of this at all well. Full stop, right? Shout out to Derek on the Irish Mags group. You put up a poll there maybe an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago on our group, on our main chat. A couple of options about get sold for less than 140, get sold for 120 to 140 before September the 3rd, get sold in January, goes on strike, is back for the Premier League, signs a 1-year contract, right? All those different options, right? The number one option on the poll was get sold for 120 to 140 million before the September 3rd. The second one is get sold. The third one is get sold in January. There's nothing here about Isak coming back, really, or anything like that, or signing a new contract. That's just kind of a poll of the numbers of our groups that have kind of, okay, maybe we've been pulled into the social media toxic mess, and now we're just going to think. I'd love to think that we'd come out of this. We'd come out of this with Isak going on NUFC TV, sitting down with Razor and saying straight up, "Look, guys, I'm really sorry. I wasn't in the right mind. I had a bit of an injury. Eddie and the medical team said it was fine for me to go off and have a bit of an extended break. I've signed a new contract now. I love the place. I love Bruno. I love Dan. I love all the lads. I love working with Eddie. Will I go maybe next year or the year after? Maybe. But for now, I'm focused on Newcastle in the Champions League. Done and done. You're right, Paul. And maybe Al, you'd agree. I think some Newcastle people would think, all right, then. You know, because it's Newcastle are the lover that is unrequited, essentially. So it's just another footballer. It's not just another footballer. This is one of the best players we've had in a long, long time. So I think what he's done for us, I think a lot of people maybe would give him a second chance and think, all right, then Isak, you gorgeous Swedish bastard. All right, fair enough. But he would have to, they definitely would have to do something. He has to come and say, you know, look, this is the situation and I'm sorry it got drawn out like that. I really hope he does that.
I think there's actually a very easy way of resolving this.
Mm-hmm.
And it involves Eddie Howe coming out, Alex Isak coming out, and whoever is our new CEO, whenever that gets announced, coming out and going, that Paul Mitchell lad absolutely made a balls of this whole thing. See that useless bald fucker? Useless. That's all his fault, and you just pin every single little bit of it on him. Isak goes, he promised me a contract and then said I'm not getting one, so I was annoyed. Eddie Howe goes, he promised Alex a contract and Alex was annoyed, so I can see where he's coming from, but it's all resolved now. And whoever our new CEO comes out and goes, we had one of the best players in the world, and this idiot decided he didn't want to give him a contract. It's all his fault. And then everyone goes, hey, maybe it's that Paul Mitchell guy's fault. And you're going,
Yeah.
gobshite. And you go, that's a fairly easy way of getting everyone to go, oh, wait a minute, it's not actually Alex's fault. It's that bald idiot from EastEnders' brother's fault.
Yeah.
It's a way of doing it.
Yeah. Let's all go to the stack and get drunk. Hooray! Easy.
As long as it still needs a pen on a piece of paper.
It does.
It does. That's the question mark. This is what happens when you have somebody called Paul in charge. Everything fucking falls apart.
Disaster.
We know that long time. Okay, shall we? Let's just move on from Alexander Isak.
Oh, please.
Until next week, and we'll see what developments have happened. But I will recommend, folks. I've been busy writing a thesis at the moment. It's due in a few weeks, so I haven't been on Twitter, and I feel great. I actually don't feel as bad as Krisho. We were chatting beforehand, and I was like, he's taking this way worse than me. But that's just because I haven't been digesting some. I'd go on the odd time, particularly looking for the headlines, but I haven't been reading the stuff that drives you mad. Thankfully, okay, we'll move on. Before we talk about saving the summer, other big piece of news this week, which might also tick a few people off. Alan, trivia question. Can you name the only football club in the Premier League that arguably has 6 first-team goalkeepers on the books? It's not a difficult question.
It's technically only 5, considering one could be going out the door. But yeah, it's disastrous. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Amongst all of our needs for a centre-back, amongst all of our needs for a striker, we're probably short in midfield. Joe Willock has just gone again. We've signed another goalkeeper just to keep in true form. Aaron Ramsdale is in the door. And look, here's where I stand with this, Alan. I want to get your opinion. I think if we'd have come out at the end of the season and said, we want Aaron Ramsdale, we have Aaron Ramsdale, people would be like, all right, fair enough, we'll manage. Instead, we've been tracking James Trafford for what seems like a year and a half. Waited, finally put in a bid, and then Man City went, oh yeah, we'll match that and we can have him. And now it feels like we've just, we've tried to go and in the disco and gone for the hottest woman there and then settled for someone you found at 2:30 in the morning after 7 glasses of wine, Krisho.
Speaking from experience.
That's it. Not experience.
But you get my drift. It does feel like we've settled very much for a second best here, Alan. Tell me why we should be a bit more positive about Aaron Ramsdale.
Aaron Ramsdale is a very, very good goalkeeper. Let's not be taking the mick out of it. He's a good keeper. Don't get me wrong. That one interview where he came out and said, I can't concentrate for the whole game. That is the worst thing I've ever heard a footballer say. And it's ridiculous. Like, if he had never said that, I don't think half the stuff said about him would be said. But it is what it is. It's only on loan with an option, not an obligation. It's an option to buy. So, worst case scenario, he comes in, stinks the gaff out, we send him back to Southampton. Best case scenario, he comes in, regains his England spot, and becomes the best goalkeeper. And we go, hang on a minute, we're after signing this lad for 4 million with an option of 25 million. Like, that's not a bad old deal. Or what I think is actually going to happen is he comes in, he pushes Nick Pope to the point where he'll probably overtake him because let's be very honest, he's a million times better with the ball at his feet than Nick Pope. And that's exactly what we're looking for. He's going to run him very close. Don't be wrong, shot stopping, Pope is a better keeper. But all in all, like, they're kind of on par. There's not a million differences between them. I think this is a Newcastle looking at the goalkeeping situation in a whole going, we've told Dubravka he can leave. We're actively looking for Vlachodimos to leave. We do need a second choice keeper. We can't rely on Ruddy and Gillespie. Let's be very honest about it. We need someone else in. So let's take this lad on loan. Let's reevaluate the goalkeeping situation at the end of this season. It's papering over the cracks a little bit, but it's not the worst way to deal with the situation when you think about it, because you're going, okay, we've kind of saved ourselves. And this whole thing of a heavy loan fee. Yeah. Jesse Lingard for 10 million for 6 months was a heavy loan fee. We're paying 4 million for the year. That's grand. I don't mind that. It's a goalkeeper. If he comes in and saves a penalty in a cup final and we win the cup final, that 4 million looks cheap. If after the end of the season he gets sent back to Southampton and we go, didn't work out, not the end of the world. It's a clever sign, I think.
Yeah, it's a clever sign. And look at just for everyone listening, Paul, maybe you don't know, but Burnley have put in a 2 million bid for Martin Dubravka, and it looks like it's going to happen. Which is the irony of it. I'm sure it's not lost on any of us that we were dealing with Burnley for a year and a half. They went, oh, Man City, all right, yeah, good luck. And now they're going to buy Dubravka office to replace him. Fantastic. But look at, again, another 2 million. Again, look, and again, we'll talk about this a little bit more. If you look back on the Longstaff thing going to Leeds for 12 million, these are killer moves, honestly, because he's worth in the state of where all of the fan base feelings is and the kind of bad vibes around the club. Just keep Longstaff. Keep him. He's core sound, smiling all the time. I'm sure they have a right crack out in Singapore. I don't want us to get rid of characters and spirits. Joe Willock, absolutely, if I was at Newcastle, he would have been sold like a year ago or at least 6 months ago. Now he's injured, and I think is it a bad injury or not? I think it is a bad injury.
According to Hope, it's not too bad. Yeah.
I think the issue really, Chriso, is what do you need when you want to sell something? You need someone to buy
interested.
And like we've heard rumors of Fulham and Palace, but I'm sure if those bids had happened, we'd have heard that they'd happened, and then particularly the club probably would have considered it. But if I'm Eddie Howe now in the current situation, I'd be like, I don't care. You can't actually sell him. I can't go into this with 4 midfielders, right? Go. Who am I getting? Do you know? As much as like I think Willock, it's time for Willock to leave. I think he did well for us when he did well for us. It's going to be very hard to find a destination or a good price for him. But if I'm literally Eddie Howe and my job is to get results, I'm like, I can't go into this season with Joe Linton, Bruno, Tonali, and Miley as backup. Yeah. Who's next? Alfie Harrison? Do you know, like Joe White? Like this just isn't going to happen. So again, if you're Eddie Howe, you got to be pissed at the whole situation in terms of like, what am I going into this season with? And as of now, it's Alanga, happy with that signing. Already scored a goal for the club, has looked sharp, has looked keen, willing, fresh, everything we want him to be, and another goalkeeper. So like today there was tweets. Again, the one moment I took when I was going down to get a sandwich, and I looked at Twitter, and people were like, "Eddie Howe could walk," and I was like, "Fuck me!" We don't even need to go there. It would be very uncharacteristic. But I mean, if I'm Eddie Howe, I'm like, this is shit. Like, I mean, But anyway, let's use that as a springboard to go positive, because Chris's out of wine.
No, I'm not. I've got loads.
Just one thing before you do go. Did Joe White not go to someone on loan? I thought Joe White left.
Maybe he did.
You're not on Twitter. I think he's gone. Yeah, Accrington Stanley or something.
Accrington Stanley. That's it. Did they sell him? Did they sell him or is it on loan?
Probably not.
I think they sold him.
If he's going on loan to Accrington Stanley, he's not going to be playing for Newcastle United in the Premier League. I'm sorry.
No.
Give me a break. Like, let's.
Who are they?
Exactly.
While we're on the topic, by the way, would shout out for Alex Murphy, who's started now 2 games for Newcastle.
Played well.
I know he got a bit unlucky with the own goal, but has looked pretty solid by all accounts, considering he was gone for 6 months. Again, in a team that's playing shite, he's probably not come out of it looking the worst, and that's not the worst thing to say for a lad who was on loan at Bolton, didn't even play every game there. Probably needs to build up a bit of confidence and sharpness, but
he's ahead of Matt Target.
Right.
He's ahead of Matt Target.
I'm glad we mentioned it, right? Just don't say Matt Target 3 times, because he might turn up on the podcast, right? Right, here's another one, right? And before we get positive, let's talk about Matt Target for a second. Romano came out during the week and he was talking about Newcastle aren't a club that players would go to and feel that they might get sold on, that we can't sell players on. There's no way of building up the value. Now, he completely is full of shit. I only watch him sometimes because I laugh at the way he tries to pronounce people's names. But Matt Target is a prime example of buying somebody in, giving him a high wage, and he has absolutely zero value. Jamal Lewis, Matt Target, zero value.
Target, I would say, was a panic buy. I think Target was someone who was available at the time when we needed bodies because we were going to get relegated. Was that the same one? No, actually, it was.
I tell you what it was. We brought him in on loan, and I got lifted out of it for saying, please do not sign Matt Target on a permanent transfer. When we stayed up, we instantly evolved past the Matt Target level.
Yeah.
Matt Target is the player you bring in to keep you up, and we went off and spent 15 million, and I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we've and then already gone past for Lewis Hall already,
And now we're stuck with him on the books. So,
but just to say, right, that like Jamal Lewis went out, Matt Target's still there earning a living, smiling in videos. He looks like somebody who wasn't invited to a 21st. He's a disaster, right? But then we have Alex Murphy, right? Yeah, I was invited to a couple, thank you. But Alex Murphy looks solid. He you know, he could be our Seamus Coleman, for God's sake, costing a couple of grand and turning into a 15-year player at the club. He looks solid. There was a tackle he did in that K-League match where he flew across the box and just threw himself to block the shot. It was majestic, and I thought, check this young lad out. This guy's got a right head on him. So, and then Sue Sung, just mention him really quickly. Sue Sung was brilliant for 7 or 8 minutes. I'm not sure.
Great
Does anyone see him going out on loan? Please say he's not.
He's already been said he's not going on loan. He's staying inside the club. He's going to bet the under 21s because he's only a child. But he shouldn't be.
Probably wouldn't make sense to sign him and bring him all the way over and then just send him somewhere random. Yeah. I mean, I know to an extent we did that with Minta. Yeah. But you know, Minta was playing kind of European football already. Didn't he come from a Swedish club or Danish club? I can't remember.
And Kuyal disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know,
Kuyal had a great year last year with the under 21s, though. That's why I'm a little bit weirded out by why he hasn't gotten a shot in this preseason, and because he hasn't gotten a shot, I'm a firm believer he is not good enough. So
no, he mustn't be good enough. I think he was a flash in the pan kind of a job. Looked good briefly, and
the
then
World Cup,
And Neil Lamptey for you,
championship
manager guys.
Championship manager, bring it all back. Okay, we got to move on. As much as I'd like to reminisce, I just don't remember enough things. Time to save our season, lads. Well, no, time to save the transfer window.
Yeah,
we mentioned obviously. Look, Isak. All of this turning around, Isak signing a contract would definitely rescue a hell of a lot of this window. But parking that aside, some good points are being made. And I saw another tweet today, like forgetting about the Isak situation, we're still shy at signing players.
Yeah,
there's so many names. I mean, just to set the context here, lads. I mean, Brian Mbeumo, Hugo Ekitike, Liam Delap, Joe Pedro, who's James Trafford, and there was one more. It's gone from me now. But there was basically like 6 players we've missed out on in this window where we tried to go for them and they've gone elsewhere.
But can I just say something? But every single one of them players went to a side that can offer more money.
Yes.
I hate admitting it. Are arguably in the grand scheme of things, not in our eyes, but in the grand scheme of things, bigger clubs. I hate saying this.
It's true though.
Manchester United have pull all around the world. I hate admitting it. They finished third from third bottom of the league last year, and they still can go out and spend 50 million and offer some 250 grand a week. We can't do that yet. Until we can match that, we're still going to be fighting with players to go, okay, come and look at our project.
Yeah.
Players don't always want to do something like that. It's frustrating as shit, but you have to accept it's not going to work all the time. The players we've looked at are all top level players, and the teams we're taking on for these players are the best of the best. We're not at that level yet. It's frustrating, but we have to take everything with a pinch of salt, I think.
I think it's okay. Like Dean Huijsen was the other one, by the way, that slipped my mind. He went to fucking Real Madrid. And I think that's fine. Like, it's good to see ambition. Going in for Ekitike I was surprised, not just because of the player, but the fee. Going in for these players shows ambition. For me, it's like, okay, where's the plan B? And like, these things take time, but we still seem very slow. It's like, oh shit, we put all our eggs in the Brian Mbeumo basket. Granted, we got a Lang in, but that took a little while. Now it's like, okay, well, where are we going next? The centre-back situation in particular. We tried for Gehi. Still talks of Gehi. We can't seem to decide what's going on with the backup options. So I suppose just to go through it, lads, you know, in terms of saving the season, and like this is where we get to talk about linked players because it changes every week and it's different last week. But Chris, talk about that position because there's Mark Gehi and the other ones. Alan mentioned his name a while ago, which was Malik Thiaw has surfaced back again a year or two later. Scalvini was tweeted about yesterday again. I think by, was it DiMarzio, that guy?
Yeah, DiMarzio.
Was his name. So with Gehi, Scalvini, and what you call him, who I just said and I've already forgotten. Gehi and Malik Thiaw. Does buying one of these contribute a shitload towards saving the window?
I watched. Yeah, Al. I watched Lascelles the other day. Mother of divine Jesus. My granny's been dead maybe 15 years, and she can run faster and track back better than the Shells. He does better tracking when he's out drinking on Newcastle streets, throwing boxes. This guy is ridiculously. He should have been gone years ago. That I've never in my life have I seen such a poor defender. Honest to God, and for someone to steal a living like that, being injured, and then playing on a preseason tour, knowing full well he's not going to be in the starting 11. We've got Botman the Croc, who'd fall over a pebble and get injured for 7 months. So look at lads. If I'm frank with you, I think we need 2 centre backs in. I really do believe we need 2 centre backs in. I think what I have here is Gahey, exclamation mark. I don't see here's the way. Come on a journey with me. Liverpool and Newcastle scope to sign Isak. They say we need this and this for Isak, and we've just got Wissa in. So here's what we want. Also, could you do us a favour? Can you leave Gahey alone so we can go and sign him? And Liverpool go, gotcha, Eddie. No worries. We'll have Isak off you.
I know they get on, but this isn't happening.
And just leave Gahey alone, and we'll take Gahey for 40 million, 35 plus 5, and we get Gahey, and that's coming in. But Scalvini, I think, what was it, 50 million euros? Is it? I think it's 50 million pound or euros.
Euros.
I don't know what that is. I think that's 40 million euro or something.
43
like
or 44, yeah.
44. Do we really honestly let's just be realistic between the three of us? Let's pick our centre back that we're realistically gonna get. I think it's Gahey, frankly. I still think we're gonna go and get him.
Alan, it's been, I mean, I quote myself as saying Trafford will be the first signing in the door because it's just gone on so long. Gahey has gone on so long that it's almost not just inevitable it won't happen because of how long it's gone on. So I wouldn't be as confident on Gahey. I'd probably be more confident on Scalvini because ultimately money talks a lot more for players in Italy than it does in the Premier League.
The problem with Scalvini is I can guarantee you as soon as we even open the door to Scalvini, Chelsea, Spurs, and the likes all come in and go, hell yeah, we'll offer you more money. And that's just how it's going to go. I think the Gahey one could rematerialize over the next week or two. And I think it could happen quite quickly because he'll go, okay, these have been in for me. What have they got going on? Liverpool aren't going to come in for me because they said they're not going to pay the money. Newcastle want me. I'll go for it. I just cannot not see us going back in for Gahey, especially with the fact that Parish has said he can go. Our option would be to sell him now and make something for him than let him go for free next year. And I also think Newcastle as a club would like to give a lovely two-finger salute to that absolute gimp that is Parish, because he led us down the garden path a couple of times last year, and for us to turn around and go, right, well, that player you turned down 70 million for last year, we've just signed him for 40. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, lad. Get up and get on with it. That's why I can see that one happening.
And look, Gahey would be a big statement and a big, I mean, Scalvini, everyone's like, football manager, wonder kid, Atalanta, great, Italian centre back, lovely. Probably fuck all people have ever actually seen him play and don't really know. Plus, there's always that element of risk. Gahey is like top tier of centre back targets available. Zabarni apparently is just going to PSG from Bournemouth. So Gahey for me would be a massive kind of turnaround in terms of going, look, we know all the shit's going on with Isak. This shit happens in football, but we've just signed Mark Gahey. I'm still skeptical about how long it's gone on. But equally, no one else has signed him yet either. There was talks of Liverpool. There was talks of Chelsea. He's still a Crystal Palace player. Okay, I would just move a little bit higher up the field then. And this is where we can talk about two players. And one of them was mentioned by Krisho earlier. And Krisho, it's Benjamin Šeško. Your second favourite Premier League club in the league has reportedly been linked with Benjamin Šeško. And there's all kinds of talk. There's nothing to say that he really, really wants to join them. More so that Man United are probably seem to be maybe just showing more interest than we are, or more concrete interest. I'm not sure. Then you see talks that we've already agreed terms with the player, just waiting to agree fees. Again, the transfers are a mess. But anyway, in reality, two questions for you on Šeško, Krisho. Right. So number one, this fella has been linked with a Premier League move for about 2 years. Arsenal most heaviest. They seem, or if you're to believe what you hear, they apparently passed on him. Bit of question marks around consistency. Is he that good? His physical attributes are great. He's a scorer of great goals, not necessarily a great goal scorer.
Robbie Keane.
Yeah, Robbie Keane. But I suppose the question would be, does it feel like we're getting someone that nobody else wanted? And then second question is, do you think we'll actually get him, especially if Man United?
Okay, here's the thing, and it's a classic thing. Any German player, specifically an attacking player that Bayern Munich aren't looking at, we shouldn't be looking at, right?
He's Slovenian.
Okay, right, okay, fair enough. Let's not bring politics into this. Hang on a second, But look, right.
Sorry to all our Slovenian listeners out there.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, within the Bundesliga, if Bayern Munich aren't sniffing about, why not? Why aren't they sniffing about? Why haven't they come in with something? Why have they gone for a Colombian from Liverpool? Why haven't they gone for Sesko? All right, wait, right. So look, are we going to get him? Look, I hate to admit this, and I do. It's disgusting, but Man United, like Alan said, are one of those clubs that have a bigger reputation. They have more history. They have more association. Sesko's a huge fan of Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic played for Man United. He wants to be like Ibrahimovic. I mean, honestly, the more I see interviews with him, again, I shouldn't really be sinking myself into social media, but he's not signing for us. I'm going to repeat this very clearly. He's not signing for us. If he was signing for us, he would have signed 3 or 4 days ago, or maybe even last weekend, because 2 projects have been sold to him. He's gone, and he's gone more with Man United. And Leipzig are like, all right, then you want to go to Man United? Well, they have to pay this. And Man United have gone, can you give us 2 weeks until we get rid of Garnacho and a couple of other people? Yeah, Wilcox and all then. And Jason Wilcox, seriously, he wasn't even a good left winger for Blackburn. Now he's bloody making money deals with Man United. Didn't he play for Blackburn?
He did. I actually tell you, it wasn't bad. Him and Stuart Ripley basically fucking won them the league in 1995.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, Sheeran something did. Like, who crossed the ball? It doesn't matter. But look, I'm sorry to say, to all our fans, to everybody, to all Newcastle fans, there's just no way. And that's why I know we're going to move on to it, but it's, Wissa and Watkins. It sounds like, some kind of furniture store, but Wissa and Watkins.
That's the worst furniture store ever. I'll never buy furniture. Alan, like he mentioned Shearer and Sutton, SNS. That's what they used to call. You're only a young chap.
SOS, yeah, SOS.
Winning the league, SNS. But this is Wissa and Watkins, WW. I don't know where to go with this. If Krisha was right and we don't sign Seshko, how would you feel about Wissa and Watkins? And do you think 2 of them are realistic rather than just 1?
Oh, 2 of them are like 2 attacking players will come in if Isak leaves. I am not entirely convinced Isak leaves. So it's a strange one to say. On Sesko, he hasn't said he wants Man United. He hasn't said he wants Newcastle United. He hasn't said he wants Bayern Munich. The reason Bayern didn't come in for them is they have a striker that's currently banging in goals for them that's on €520,000 a week. They cannot afford to add another striker into that mix. So that's why they're not in for him. I sneaky suspicion think that Sesko has been told by Leipzig, you have 1 more week to sort out your future or you're not leaving. And I think he might want to go to Man United, but that's because Man United, I hate admitting it, but it is what it is. The money, exactly. But if by Monday, Tuesday next week, that bid hasn't come in and our bid is still sitting there, I think you'll go, yeah, I don't mind playing for Newcastle in the Champions League next year. Sure, look at what they've done to Isak. They made him into one of the best strikers in the world. I fancy that myself. I think the next 10 days are going to be absolutely massive in the transfer window. I don't want to say... I do think there's going to be a player that's going to come out of left field, and I know we're probably going to talk about it, but someone that hasn't really been mentioned is that Woltemade lad that played that under 21
German chap,
lad. Yeah.
Nick Woltemade, heavily linked to Bayern as well, more so as a Kane replacement for later. He's still young. He's only like he's 22, 23. He's a fucking unit. But he's kind of like, I don't want to say he's a late bloomer. He's 23, but he has just in the last year just fucking taken off in terms of goals for Stuttgart. But I suspect he'll go to Bayern because he'd be happy to know I can learn and play alongside Harry Kane and then take over from him in a year. interesting. Well, I don't really want to talk about too much about Wissa. We had him last week. I think
Yeah.
it's clear Newcastle want him. We know what he'll bring. It's a safe enough bet. The fee is the question mark. If we lined up, Alan, in a scenario, I'll ask the two of you. Give me yes or no and a 30-second answer. But if we lined up against whether it's opening game of the season against Villa or first home game against Liverpool with Ollie Watkins up front. Now, that's something, if you'd said that to me a year ago, I wouldn't have seen that coming. But whatever happened from the start of last season to now, Watkins suddenly just sort of fell out of favour in Villa with Unai Emery. Duran was there taking over, then he fucked off. Then Rashford came in, then he's up front. I'm a bit confused about Watkins. He's younger than I keep thinking he is.
Yeah.
But there's a question mark there.
Is he?
He's not. He's 29. Is
20,
he? He's not 30.
28, 29. Yeah.
29.
Like
29.
28. He might even be 28. 29.
No, he's 29. He's 29.
29.
It's all about the fee. If you're talking 70 million for him, give me a break. No, it's like it has to be a decent enough fee for him for it to make any sense, because we're at the stage where we can't afford to be going out and buying players unless it's costing 30, 35 million that we're not going to be able to make anything back on. And Watkins is one of them players that unless he comes in for 35, 40 million, it just doesn't really make much sense. But I can't see that one happening.
No.
I can see us going more left field than that if it comes to it, but I don't think it will.
I mean, there are names, Krisho, up Lois Apenda, who I think we spoke about last week. Alan's a big fan of.
Quality.
Nicholas Jackson, meh. Rodrigo Muniz, who's like, maybe you bring him in with
he's just a Wissa 2.0.
Yeah, it's hard to know. And then the other one is the guy at Wolves, Strand Larson, and then Randall Colomwani. There's a lot of names circling around, but these names are all coming from random places. They're not really coming from any credible sources, and by credible, David Ornstein.
But again, he's lost his credibility a little bit too. Like, don't get me wrong.
He hasn't.
No, he has a little bit, like especially over this Isaac thing and this Cisco deal. There's some of the stuff that's coming out. Now I don't know whether maybe I'm just kind of getting blurred and confused with the feeds that I'm having, or whether someone's stealing from him.
It's the rage, Krisho. It's the rage.
It is the rage. Look at. Let's just say, right, for hypothetics, that Isaac is sold next week, and he goes for whatever the hell it is, 120 to 150 million pounds, right? Hooray! We've got loads of money. I don't want Watkins. Thanks very much. I'll take Wissa to replace Wilson. I'd even take Wilson back on a 1-year deal just to kind of have him as the third striker. Wait, bear with me. I don't want Strand Larson because he scored 12 goals. Good for him. Yeah, fantastic. Good for you.
In a poor Wolves side.
Yeah, well, he had Cunha with him, helping him out. Look at we've had our. I said it on the group. We've had our wings clipped this summer after winning the trophy. The magpie is dragging its claws.
We flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, we flew too close to the sun. The magpie is dragging his little claws along the ground with his head down. We need something deliciously special in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
We do.
We
need a lift.
James McAtee, Gahey. If the Sesko thing doesn't happen, Alan, there has to be somebody out there left field that we can pull in, like an Obafemi Martins kind of signing.
We threw Ivan Toney around last week, didn't we?
I did and got dropped.
That's a lot of salary apparently, but like you'd like to think that maybe he'd love another crack at it. He's young enough for it. He's good enough for it. It's not out of the question. Depends on how he really felt about being here last time, because obviously it didn't go superbly for him, but he was very young.
What about Garassi?
Garassi's top scorer at the Club World Cup, wasn't he? Or for a while, anyway, until the later rounds.
You guys slammed me for that like 6 months ago. But
again, it's just, I think there's a bit of an age profile thing there. But then Watkins is the same. So I don't know, honestly, lads. I don't know. I think it's very hard. It's very hard with all this Isaac shit up in the air. For me, a Sesko and a Wissa makes sense, but I don't think they can do that unless they know what's going on with Isaac. And I feel like this just needs to get sorted. So I feel that we're going to be in pain a little while longer. And what also upsets me is, I think it was Tonali speaking about when he was deciding to move to Newcastle, one of the determining factors was he sat down with Eddie Howe. And as we're bidding for players, if we even are, Eddie Howe's in South Korea. So that's what's frustrating about trying to do deals when somebody like that who can actually make a difference in the room isn't there because he's in South Korea. So the sooner he gets back, the better, I think. And maybe in a week's time, lads, maybe something will have happened, or we'll feel a little bit better, or we'll feel absolutely worse, in which case we'll have to drink. That said, we will have a guest on next week to help us talk through some more of these transfer targets and more of the situation. A very well-known guest. He's been on the Irish Mags show before and is known all around the Newcastle United community. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Lads, the only other piece of news, Alan, in the Irish Mags community, FPL is back on the radar.
So FPL is back. So last year we just had a generic FPL league and didn't really do anything about it. But this year, with the thanks of Colin McCabe, who is absolutely wonderful, he organizes an awful lot of our competitions and stuff like that. But we've decided to make it an official competition this year. So if you have any interest in joining an Irish Mags proper tournament for FPL, I've joined it. I've made my team. I'll forget about it now until the end of the season. But if you're not like me and you want to actually do it, get onto one of us and we'll get you sorted out. It's €20 in, but there's a big prize towards the end of the season. So it's nice. well worth it.
How much have we spent on the wooden spoon that Krisho is going to win?
Hang on. Here we are. Here it is.
Oh, there, I already won
it. Yeah, we just sent it straight to him. We don't need
why
to bother with that.
Why does he have a wooden
spoon?
I came last in the golf tournament, and I got a wooden spoon.
Nice.
Look, breaking news, everybody, because I like clicking between because I'm sick of looking at Paul and Alan. Breaking news: Everton looked to seal a deal for Dibbling for £27 million, which is astounding. Seeing that he was supposed to be worth
source
£75 million. Irish Mags Group.
Don't mind that.
Yeah.
No, it's Paul Mitchell. Hang on. No, Paul. No.
Paul, you're finished. Game up. Yeah. The jig is up. Quimby. Right. As we said, if you're interested in the FPL competition, you can get on to any of us or Colin, or just contact the Irish Mags. info@theirishmags.com. Check out all of our socials below. You can contact us there as well. And www.theirishmags.com. Season is not far away. Sela Cup is not far away. Premier League is not far away. Meetups are going to be back soon. All of the things. Oh, what a summer it's been. It's flown, but in a way, it's been the longest and worst summer ever. And that's a cheerful note to end this week's podcast. Thanks, Alan and Krisho, for joining me. Thank you, listeners and viewers, for dialing in. We'll be back with a guest next week. So until then, we'll say how are the lads, Slán go fóill, and we'll see y'all very soon. Take it easy, lads.
Slán a bhaile.
Slán lad.